Well, Donald Trump's at it again. He's using your taxpayer dollars and the United States of America and its sovereign immunity to try to argue he doesn't have to pay an almost $100 million judgment for sex abuse and defamation awarded to E Jean Carroll over a year ago in New York by two separate juries of 18-0 who ruled against Donald Trump on both sex abuse and on defamation. This one has to do with the statements he made while he was president of the United States, where he stepped out of his role of being president to go after E Jean Carroll and say, look what she looks like. I would never sexually abuse her. I don't even know the person. She's not my type. Defamation, defamation, defamation. Now, let's continue there. And I want to also update you on this hot take on what's going on with this sort of parallel world of that $500 million judgment against Donald J. Trump, DJT, for persistent fraud in the operation of the Trump Organization, because a judge there, Judge Engoron, over a year ago found that the New York Attorney General Letitia James was right in all of her proof that the Trump Organization was fraudulent, period. So there's a $500 million judgment running with $120,000 of interest per day. What's going on with that particular case, Popok? And what about Donald Trump trying to use our taxpayer dollars and the United States of America's good credit to try to get out from under his $100 million sex abuse and defamation judgment? I tie it all together here on the MeidasTouch Network. Let's go. Let's start with E Jean Carroll. You may recall there were two E Jean Carroll cases. One about her being sexually abused, and then defamation comments made by Donald Trump after he was president. And then another case about the sexual abuse and defamation comments while he was president. They were delayed. They were separated because Donald Trump took an appeal about whether, as president, or he had the ability to be sued or not. They had all this whole issue. It went before several appellate courts and got returned back to Judge Kaplan in New York. And they said, yeah, you try the case. There's no immunity issues related to this defamation that you're talking about. And of course, the Biden administration's Department of Justice had an opportunity to say, oh, we're going to come into the case, replace Donald Trump as the party, and then move for its dismissal under concepts of sovereign immunity, which is allowed under a little-known statute called the Westfall Act, named after a then senator, which gives immunity to federal officers all the way up to the president of the United States from being sued in civil liability for things they do while on the job, or at least within the scope of their duties. Now, we know the U.S. Supreme Court stretches out as far as it can the presidential powers when they did their immunity decision, but we're talking here about civil liability. So there was litigation over that. The two cases sort of got uncoupled and tried separately. The first case about what he did later in time, if you will, in the defamation after he was president, went first. In that case, 9-0, a jury ruled. Alina Habba was the lawyer, along with some other people. Donald Trump didn't testify, and the jury awarded her $5.5 million. Donald Trump has effectively paid that already. He took an appeal on that particular case and lost. There were no reversible error decisions made by Judge Kaplan, and the U.S. Supreme Court doesn't care about it. Second case got tried. 9-0 again against Donald Trump. This time he did testify, and the jury hated him. $83 million judgment, and that's been running with interest ever since. Donald Trump took an appeal to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, federal, and Alina Habba tried to argue all sorts of things about, he was president at one time, and you can't, prosecute. There can't be a civil liability for the president and all. And they said, well, those are interesting arguments, but you were late in bringing them. In fact, you were too late in bringing them. Now she's the acting U.S. attorney for New Jersey, but at the time she's a terrible federal practitioner. Let's be honest, and has lost everything she's ever touched in federal court. And so she lost her appellate argument, and the Second Circuit said, yeah, we don't see presidential immunity related to any of this, and plus you waived it. The weather, it's heating up, and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating, so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather. so you get better sleep every night. Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. Upgrade your sleep as the weather heats up. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo LegalAF at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf and use the code LegalAF to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/legalaf to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. Okay, so now you've got the Second Circuit appeal. Now we're still waiting on their ultimate ruling in the case. In the meantime, Donald Trump gets hit with the $83.5 million judgment. He posts a bond. He had to go out and go get a surety company who's a buddy of his out in Texas to post this bond based on his bank account and whatever he's got sitting in his Capital One account, apparently. And they posted the bond. Now, during that period, the Biden administration had the ability, as I said, to use the Westfall Act to protect Donald Trump. But they refused. They took a look at the case. Merrick Garland took a look at the case and said in 2023, yeah, we're not intervening in the case. This isn't presidential conduct. We're not going to assert that the United States Supreme Court should be substituted in as a party as the first step of getting the case dismissed and getting the judgment dismissed. Fast forward, Donald Trump just had his Department of Justice, of course, the Civil Rights and Torts Division under Pam Bondi, file a new certification, a new declaration that says, I declare that I've reviewed the facts. This is the new filing. I've reviewed the facts. And yes, this is all presidential conduct from what I understand. Based on what? 2 separate appellate courts says it isn't. Why? Because you work for Pam Bondi and now this declaration, Westfall certification, is suddenly going to flip the course of the Department of Justice's position? And we're a little late, don't you think? The Second Circuit doesn't seem to be the right place to make this motion, as the lawyers for E Jean Carroll, Robbie Kaplan, just told the Second Circuit this should go back to Judge Kaplan and let him make the decision about whether this Westfall declaration means that somehow the judgment should be thrown out or the U.S. should be substituted in now that the judgment has already been rendered. I don't see that happening. I think we've got waiver. I think we've got a lot of things in the interest of justice that you're not, just because the guy had we had the unique misfortune of Donald Trump becoming president again, he gets to then use that presidency to clean up all of his mess and all of his judgments civilly. But they're trying. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think the Second Circuit's going to reject the certification, reject the attempt to substitute in at the judgment time the United States of America for Donald Trump in the sex abuse and defamation case, send it back to Kaplan, who's going to reject it. And if Donald Trump doesn't like it, he'll take it up where else? To the United States Supreme Court, where he may have 3 or 4 votes, but I'm not sure he can count to 5 and get 5 votes to let him out of a civil judgment lawsuit for sex abuse and defamation with the record that's already been established. But we'll follow it right here, as we only do, speaking truth to each other first here on the MeidasTouch Network. Let's talk about Legal AF for a minute. Legal AF, the podcast, been around for about 5 years. Ben Meiselas and I founded it, and then Karen Freeman-Ignifilo joined, and we got a Wednesday and Saturday show where you can watch us on YouTube and then pick us up on audio podcast platforms. So important. We're number 10 in the world in podcasts. It's hard to believe. Same chart, MeidasTouch number 1. We're number 10, and we want to get to the top 5. Why not? We want to join our brothers. So with your help, we will. Legal AF, the podcast, audio and video version. Subscribe, listen, download, tell your friends. That's great. We also have a YouTube channel that I curate, Legal AF, the YouTube channel, in collaboration with MeidasTouch, Legal AF MTN. We're trying to get that to 1 million subscribers free with your help. We're already at about 540 or 550,000, and we're only 7 months old. That's all a testament to you. We're humbled by it. We'll continue to do our part. We got 12 amazing contributors or so over on Legal AF MTN. Check us out. So until my next, whatever contribution I'm making to Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.